exporting countries has raised Nigeria's oil production quota.
In all we do, we remain committed to informing you.
It's 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your station for talk. Are you tired of all the noise and speculation in the news? On Hard Facts, we cut through the clutter and get straight to the truth.
If only Fubra has been aware of the Google trap, he would have understood in democracy there are bases for everybody to do accordingly.
Join us as we bring you the stories that matter. We go beyond the headlines to uncover the real facts and the core of every story.
We are doing this, we are doing that. At the end of the day, nothing good will come out. What did they promise us? They will be in charge of security and life and whatever. But what are we getting in return?
With in-depth analysis and experts interviews, Hard Facts delivers the truth that others dare not to reveal. Tune into Hard Facts every weekday, 3 to 6 p.m. and arm yourself with the knowledge you need to navigate today's complex world. Hard Facts, where the truth always prevails.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
This is Hard Facts.
99.3 Nigeria Info, the big hard facts. 3 minutes inside the hour of 5. You can watch the show on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
My name is Stretch.
That's right, Lagos. We started the show at 3 p.m. with the big weekend. We stretched it up until 4:45 when we had Steve and Cassiana. We're here on the last 1 hour of the show today, and we want to talk about the state of the nation. We've got joining us virtually right now. You can watch our guest, Professor Chris Mustapha Nwaokobia, is the convener, Country First Movement. Prof, good evening, and thank you for joining us today.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be on with you.
It's good to have you. It's good to have you. The state of the nation, we're going to start from politics. If you've got time, we'll do economy. No more time, we'll do youth employment. We'll do security or insecurity if you like. Education is also somewhere in the mix. We'll do health, infrastructure, development, national unity, and we'd like to get your advice, final word as we go along. But this is going to be quite an interesting conversation. Let's start this way, though. How would you assess? I mean, this administration has been 2 years. They've spent their first 2 years in power, and you have witnessed the political climate. I get your piece that you release from time to time about the consciousness of the country, the political climate, and all of that. How would you assess the current political climate in Nigeria today?
Well, Quadry, it's my pleasure to be on with you. Very importantly, it excites me when we have to engage in a no-holds-barred manner, because I've always told you, and those who care to listen, that constructive criticism is a boulevard that leads to the beloved community that we expect, pray for, and hope. 2 years into Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, into President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's watch, it's been largely lackluster, largely uneventful. Mark my choice of words, because I'll have to add flesh to it. Okay. Largely uneventful. It's been the feast of sycophants and sycophancy. It's been an orgy of court jesting and more of propaganda and less of governance. And I say this advisedly. A few days ago, just about 2-3 days ago, this administration became 2 years old, since power was handed over to our dear president on the 29th of May, 2023. Since then, we have seen several policy flip-flops. Since then, we have seen, even in their own statistics, the heightening of poverty, hunger, disease, and despondency. And they've told us that no good meal is without heat. No good meal is without trouble. no good meal comes easy. But the point is, and I say this without equivocation, that if you're cooking a good meal and you want the people to tighten their seatbelts, if you're the leader, you should lead by examples. It was Mitt Romney, the man that ran for president against Barack Obama, who said that leadership shows the way. Leadership leads by example. What we have seen, and we've heard somebody in the National Assembly say that no lawmaker goes home with less than $1 billion now. Mm-hmm. What we have seen is opulence. What we have seen is profligacy. What we have seen is wanderlust by those who should lead by examples. And sadly, Quadry, as you and I speak, this administration has lowered every ethical and moral bar. And I'm speaking deeply. I think it was just 2 days ago that this government went to commission 4.3% of a road. It's not done anywhere, never have been done anywhere in our historicity or anywhere in the world. But because sycophancy and propaganda has taken over everything that matters to this administration, you have a coastal road that should be about 700 kilometers. And with fanfare, with pomp and pageantry, shamelessly and soullessly, government goes to commission 30 kilometers of road. And you ask yourself why. So I think that very sadly, this government has sacrificed governance and leadership at the altar of sycophancy, hypocrisy, and profligacy. And let me say very importantly that since they have decided to walk that path, they should be magnanimous in allowing critical thought, constructive criticism, and critical opinion. That's the way to go, So I think that on the one side, government and governance is enjoying hypocrisy, sycophancy, and court jesting. On the other side, they should also allow, because if you want to go in the kitchen, if you want to cook, you go in the kitchen, and if you go in the kitchen, you feel the heat. That's so right. I think that the time has come for us to call a spade by its name, speak truth to power, say to our dear president that Nigerians expect something better from them.
Prof, talking about speaking truth to power, let me jump on this before I allow my colleague to ask you his question. With everything that you've said, with things that we've seen that have happened during the course of 2 years of this government, the experiences of Nigerians, the state of the economy, the political climate, the insecurity situation. If I asked you whether you think Nigeria, our democracy, is maturing or we are retrogressing, what would your answer be?
I think, Quadry, what you've just done is you're sounding like a clairvoyant, but albeit mischievously, because you know that our democracy is obviously and very sadly retrogressing. And I say this without equivocation. There was a time in our historicity when the PDP had about 30 or 31 governors. And when they did, they were not dancing and hailing themselves like people are doing now. And when they did, the opposition was not under some kind of oppressive, did not have some kind of oppressive climate like we do today. Just about 2 days ago, one of my friends was released from detention by the Minister of Defense after having held him for about 5 days for just a critical thought, which he mistakenly put out and then apologized. But they also took him into custody. We have never seen journalists, except under military rule, go through the kind of harrowing circumstance and threat of detention or intimidation like we have today. And you ask yourself, does democracy or ought not democracy to exist with freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of association. But you have seen in 2 years what has become of our democracy. Now, the government is largely unaccommodating of dissent, of dissenting views, of critical thought and opposition. And government apparently is jittery about what the people have to say about this government. And so rather than govern, they have decided from all you have seen within the past 3 weeks is either they're endorsing Mr. President in Kaduna or they're endorsing Mr. President in Lagos. If they're not endorsing Mr. President in Lagos, they're endorsing Mr. President in the FCT, Abuja. And you ask yourself, are we living in mass? Are those who are in the APC living in another country? Because if this is the country that we all have, Quadry, I saw a news this morning, and they were talking about the 5 strongest currencies or 7 strongest currencies in Africa. The Naira is not there. Quadry, you remember that just about the time the Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Gregory was speaking in the United States in Washington, D.C. during the last conference that they had there, the outgoing chairman or president of the African Development Bank was saying the same thing about how our government has lost commitment as to redeeming the economy and bringing the economy out of the morass. And then, very unfortunately, the World Bank and the IMF said clearly, without doubt, that if this government continues with the policies that it has, the way it is, that by 2027, much more Nigerians will find themselves below the poverty mark, that we will have multi-dimensional poverty. So what they were actually saying is that if this system continues to run, it will cease to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's what democracy is. It will obviously become a government of the few, by the few, and for the few. And with Mr. President and the party chairman of his party, Ganduje, and Mr. President saying that they don't mind a one-party state. If you go to Google or to your dictionary, you find out that a one-party state is the closest to authoritarianism, the closest to despotism. It is by no means democratic. So it means that this administration is walking away from the tenets of democracy. It means that this administration is strangulating the democratic space. It means that this government is making mockery of all that defines democracy, and it means that our democracy is indeed shrinking.
Indeed, Prof.
Okay, Prof. Nwaokobia, nice to have you in the studio with us, however, virtually. I love your optimism when you said we will get to a state where it will be government by a few. Considering that we have a National Assembly that sings an anthem away from the national anthem when the president steps into the place. And I want to add that to this. Is there a fight against corruption in Nigeria? Is there really a fight, or is it being mouthed? I mean, like, there are 3 people make this. They put up this post of talking about the arms of government in Nigeria, and it looks like fighting corruption is just something that is being mouthed. Do you agree? Is there really a fight against corruption in Nigeria?
Your question is as good as my guesses and conjectures. There is by no means, and I say this without doubt, what government does about corruption is mount anti-corruption. If we had corruption under the administration of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, under Buhari's administration, Nigeria was synonymous with corruption, And under the present watch, corruption has become Olympic. Corruption is far more monstrous than we have ever seen. And I say this advisedly. Have you seen in our history where government embarks on a road construction and it doesn't tell you how much it has earmarked for that road? Hasn't told you the budgeted cost for that road? Hasn't told you what that road is likely to take from our collective till? Now, under this administration, the Minister of Works openly tells us on national TV that they do not know how much the coastal road from Lagos to Calabar cost. That from one, it will actually cost. And that was why when a journalist asked him whether that road was actually going to take us back by 15 trillion. And he said, no, we don't know exactly how much it's going to cost now. We've just finished the first phase. When we get to the second phase, we will understand the challenges. And who does that? Which government goes to war or goes about a project without costing the project? That's one. So if there is any agency of government that encourages corruption, it is the presidency and this government. And then let me also say to you, my dear brothers, that the National Assembly did not interrogate that. I think you started by raising questions about the role of the National Assembly, which all, according to the Constitution, should have oversight responsibilities. They should check and watch, critique, and appropriate resources for executive functions. Now, if you go to the National Assembly where they largely are standing on a blood-soaked mandate, on a blood-soiled mandate, where rather than act as the representatives of the people, they are the defenders of the executive and the enablers of the executive. The National Assembly did not at any point investigate, interrogate, or appropriate funds for the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. So you ask yourself, why would this government? Because what is the definition of corruption? Operating against due process, less than proper conduct in leadership, operating against the rule of law, and then you ask yourself, how has this government enabled the fight against corruption? But what you have manifestly, and you see that everywhere, is that this government, where it is not abridging due process, it is abridging the intendments and the letters of the Constitution, like we saw in the declaration of a state of emergency over River State. Where it is not doing that, it is working and spending our monies without appropriation. Where it is not doing that, the National Assembly is not interrogating or upholding its constitutional role to oversight functions on the activities of the executive. And so what we have is corruption unlimited, corruption democratized, corruption liberalized, and I want to say without doubt, without an ounce of doubt, that this government is perhaps the most corrupt in our historicity.
Prof, thank you for breaking that down. It's 5:21. If you're just tuning in, you're most welcome. It's a big hard fact here on Nigeria Info 99.3. Our guest this evening is Professor Mustapha Nwaokobia. He joins us all the way from the Federal Capital. Virtually, you can watch on Facebook and on YouTube, Nigeria Info 99.3. We'll take one or two calls. Prof, I will come to you because I'd really love to get your take on the wave of defections, because you mentioned the one-party situation, and I'd like to gauge your thought on why politicians across party lines, from the PDP to the NNPP to the APC to the SDP, just name it, to the LP, everybody, most of them, both serving senators, serving House of Reps members, to those that are not serving, just members, everybody moving towards the ruling party. But let's take in one or two calls. Lagos, it's time for you to jump on this conversation. 0201 277 0993 for the male callers. Female only line is 0201 465 7190. WhatsApp number is 0809 597 5805. Good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening once again.
Good evening to you.
Mr. Sheriff.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and I agree with your guest. The Professor Nwaokobia.
That's right.
Hello?
Yes, he is the one here. You can hear him.
I agree with all of you. You see, the man has just said it all. He has said it, my dear brother, you said it all. God bless you. Those who have ears, let them listen. You've said it all, and that is the way it is. And that is why most Nigerians, most hungry Nigerians, the masses, that's how we are seeing it, except those in government and the so-called rubber stamp legislature that we have. Instead of fighting for the masses, they are there endorsing Mr. President. Whatever he says is okay. Is that not a shame? It is a shame. My dear brother, God bless you, because you have said it all.
Thank you.
May you live long. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Prof, they said, may you live long. Did you say amen?
Amen.
Amen. Okay. Amen. All right. Lagos, let's jump on this call before we head out. Good evening to you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, please.
Jerry. And good afternoon, Prof. Thank you for your delivery. Thank you for your delivery. We will continue to speak English, professorial English, and whatever way we want to speak. Nobody, my professor, nobody will fight corruption in this country until there is a drastic, law. I don't know what they call it. A law that even when the president knows that this law is there, he dare not forget himself to any corruption.
Right.
Until that is done,
right.
Who is fighting corruption? Is it police? Is it EFCC?
Thank you.
Who?
Thank you.
Who is not corrupt among them?
Thank you.
Who?
Thank you.
Please, let us forget about anybody fighting corruption. If any government comes
and
say I'm fighting corruption,
all right, we have to go.
The government is more corrupt.
Thank you. We'll be back.
More talk, news, and sports after this.
Na so I dey on my own. Na a message enter my phone. Fiam. I can't click am. Fiam. Na so my money for account go. Fiam. Hey. If to say na Airtel you dey use, them for first alert you before you click am. Airtel they identify spammers. Then alert them customers with AI powered service to make sure say you no fall mugu for wuru scam messages. No charges, no subscription needed. Me self they go join Airtel. Fiam.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Help build strong bones with Vitabiotics Osteocare from the UK. The supplement that's not just calcium, but also contains scientific cofactors better absorption into the bones. Nourish your bones, teeth, and muscles with Osteocare. In Nigeria, we need calcium for our children through adult life and especially for our seniors to help prevent stunted growth, broken bones, and osteoporosis. Osteocare scientific formula, not just calcium for strong bones from Vitabiotics UK, available in pharmacies around you.
Ever since Grandpa's swag retired, he's gotten quite active. You might find him making jollof rice for the family, or doing 50 push-ups a day, or bursting some moves on TikTok, or going shopping with his favorite grandson. He's also experimenting new things like pairing Ankara trousers with a white shirt and a cool pair of sunglasses.
Oh shit, keep that, Grandpa's swag. We believe that the fun begins at retirement. That's why Hares Life has designed the Hares Annuity Plan, a pension plan that pays you a monthly income for as long as you live. This way, you can enjoy retirement and experience life all over again. For this and other plans, visit www.hairsinsurancegroup.com. That is HEIRS, or call 0700 434 7754 to get started.
This Eid, now we'll go enjoy.
Now people will waka enter Grand Square, of course.
From June 2nd, go reach 7, Grand Square, they run better discounts. We go sweet to your belly. Now the Grand Eid Bonanza, discounts full ground like Kusuya for Ilea.
Special discounts on top brands for foodstuff, electronics, household, and many more. Better enjoyment they involved though.
Now celebration season with sweet savings and up to 60% off on select items.
So make you carry the whole squad. Go Grand Square for Abuja, Ikeja, VI, and Kano.
Grand Square Eid Bonanza. Ilea just got better.
Discounts everywhere. Come shop with no wahala.
From June 2nd to the 7th, you know where to be.
It's Grand Square. Come and shop with glee.
Mr. Teacher, please, what happens when children come to school? How is it that they leave home very neat and return looking so different?
Non-stop action, ma. All the learning and sports burn energy. So those sweat stains, dirty uniforms and shoes, they show that your kid has been very active.
Now, wow.
Your kids need nourishing energy. Give them Milo at breakfast. It has nutrients that support energy release to help them get the most out of their day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo. Pocari Sweat. My ions, please, can't get enough. My ions, please, give it to me now. Pocari Sweat. It go rehydrate you, yeah. Replenish your ions with Pocari Sweat. Rehydrate you faster, easy we observe. Pocari Sweat. Give it some more. Pocari Sweat.
It's amazing how your child grows up before your eyes. Enable their thriving development and the care they need with the new NanKid 4 with HMOs to support your child's development, probiotics to help your child's digestion and development, and high-quality proteins to support age-appropriate growth. And all of these work together to support your child's development and growth today and tomorrow. NanKid 4. Nourish your child's potential.
Oh, what did happen now? No bonus for all my line. No panic, as MTN don't carry better gist come. Every 6 minutes you talk, MTN go dash you 3 extra minutes. Fiam to enter MTN better gist. Dial *123 *2 *1 hash or text BG to 312. T and C's apply.
All right, class, settle down. Today, let's talk about how you started your day.
We got dressed and had pancakes with John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate for breakfast.
My mom makes John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate for us too.
My mom calls it instant goodness. My sister and I always put it inside our pap. It's so yummy.
John Vance 3-in-1 chocolates. A chocolate drink made of rich cocoa, milk, and sugar. Available nationwide in stores. John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate. Enjoy instant goodness.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
This is Hard Facts.
Welcome back to the Big Hard Facts here on Nigeria Info 99.3. We're live on Facebook. We're also live on YouTube. It's highly interactive. It's engaging. Professor Chris Mustapha Nwaokobia, the convener, Country First Movement, is our guest this evening. And we are having a conversation on the state of the nation. We're still talking politics. That's to tell you how broad this conversation is. Very, very broad when you talk about the state of the nation. And we can promise you that we touch, maybe not with Professor Nwaokobia, but we'll touch other areas with other guests during the course of the week as well. But Prof is the perfect guest to discuss politics and governance, because you all can hear the stuff he's made of. Prof, again, thank you for finding time to join us. Always answering our call. Anytime we call on Prof, he's always answering our call. Thank you so much. Let's move the conversation along. I want to talk to you about the gale of defections. We've heard all kinds of stories as to why big politicians are moving from one political party or the other political party to the ruling party. Prof, what did you hear? What can you tell us about why politicians of repute, politicians who are old enough themselves to be able to hold their own in their own party, moving from their party to the ruling party? What can you tell us about this?
Quadry, the first thing to note is that it would have made sense if this administration was performing well. It would have made sense if this administration had been able to reduce corruption. It would have made sense if infrastructural development is if they had turned Nigeria to a huge construction site. It would have made sense if they had reduced insecurity. It would have made sense if the masses of our people are better off today than they were 2 years ago. But when you look at what has been happening over the past 2 years, and precisely within the past 2 months when it has become a gale of defections, like you noted, from the other parties to the All Progressive Congress, you would ask yourself questions. And growing up, my dad told me that phraseology, the wood cried last night and the child dies this morning, you're left with conjectures. And to the discerning, the conjectures are simple. That some people, most of those politicians have skeletons in their cupboard. So what they do is put before you your file with the EFCC. They turn you to a jester, and because you're scared of going to jail, you decamp to the APC. They put before you your corruption charges, and you're, like the former chairman of the party said, Adams Oshomole, that when you move from your party to the APC, you become a saint. So the APC has become a beatification center where if you were a sinner and the day you turn up to the APC, you become born again and you're declared a saint. But let me say this very importantly, and this is for those who are bothered about it. I have never been more grateful to the Almighty God than I am presently, because what we have before us is that the political class, albeit the ruling party, is creating a great demarcation, a great chasm, albeit pleasantly. They're telling the masses of our people that it doesn't matter to them what happens to us. They're telling the masses of our people that it is all man to himself and God for us all. They're telling the masses of our people that their manifesto is me, myself, and I, that they don't care about what happens to us. And so what interestingly is unfolding is that 2027 will become a watershed. What we had in 2023 was the tip of the iceberg. Remember that across the nation, some people, it will be important for our listeners to hear this, that 21 governors across this nation were not able to deliver their presidential candidates in 2023. An instance was Lagos State, where the APC lost the presidential election. And in 21 states, the governors, my home state of Delta, the vice presidential candidate of the PDP then, was governor. He lost his local government to the Labour Party. And so when the people rise, it becomes a fundamental spectacle for all of us. And Tinubu was lucky in 2023 that he was hiding behind the failure of Buhari to do whatever they did. But today, that cloak is no longer there. Nigerians are looking at him in the face, and they're saying to him, your promises you haven't kept. And then don't forget that whilst this president was campaigning, he said that if he's unable to fix electricity after 4 years, Nigerians shouldn't vote for him.
But it's not 4 years. It's not 4 years yet.
We have 2 more years.
It's not 4 years yet.
No, we pray that he does much more magic within the next 2 years. But what is important for us as a people is to understand that those who are cross-carpeting, those who are defecting, those who are joining the APC must understand that what we saw in 2023, when Nigerians rose up in unison to say they wanted their country back, is the tip of the iceberg compared to what is going to unfold in 2027. Because clearly, Nigerians are dissatisfied. And let me say this, importantly, Quadry. Have you observed that the state of Borno is today far unsafer than it was in 2023? Have you also observed that these are states governed by the APC? That the state of Benue has become a spectacle of human barbecues. The headers, marauding headers, are killing people and dishing out human barbecues everywhere. Have you observed that Nigerians largely are far unsafer today than they were 2 years ago? These are questions that will agitate the voters. So I keep saying to people, if the whole National Assembly likes, let them decamp to the APC. If the whole 36 state governors like, let them decamp to the APC. Don't forget that very recently, like I said in my last penultimate submission, that there was a time when PDP had 31 governors. Where's PDP today struggling for life? There is no single tendency that has been able to hold Nigerians down. Abacha tried it. You remember Bola Ige's phraseology, the 5 fingers of a leprous hand. All 5 parties endorsed his candidacy until the one who pretends over the affairs of men took him out. The PDP boasted that it will govern Nigeria for 60 years. It didn't do more than 16 years. The APC is telling us that they can govern. They don't care whether it's a one-party state or not. But you see, Nigerians have never been conquered. And not now will Nigerians be conquered.
So, Professor, thank you so much. I love your optimism and the way you are breaking this down into bits. But I want to play the advocate here. We've seen some elections happen in the past. We've seen elections in Edo State. We've seen elections happen all midterm elections have happened. And we saw what occurred in this election. Do you not think that the 2027 elections, howbeit whoever is in place in the INEC at that time, could be a magnification of what we have seen in these midterm elections?
Strong question, deep one, very well put. But let me say this, that there's something about our nation, there's something about, pardon my choice of words, our pseudo-federalism that excites me sometimes. Now, you did talk about off-season elections and how, pardon my choice of words, how electoral malfeasance, how rigging defined those elections. These are my words. And like you noted, Edo was a spectacle of the absurd. And several other states have come in that color. But I want to say here, and that's why it is important for even the defectors to gauge their thermometer and their temperature. Very importantly, when it comes to federal elections, don't forget that as false federalism gives so much power to the center. And if you remember what happened in the last election, how the people rose up, I think that what is clearly before us is that as this, and I've told people who are my friends in the APC that they are their own greatest enemies. You don't clap hands for yourself when manifestly you're not doing well. The people will look at you and say, continue to clap. When you reach my turn, I'll show to you what I can do. All over the country today, clearly the most hated political operators in our historicity are the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and then the Minister of the FCT. And these are the people whose minders, whose spokespersons are talking the most. And you know, Nigerians are looking at them and saying, okay, make una dey talk. Importantly, you have seen the young people stepping out to say there's a 30 days challenge and they are insisting on electoral reforms. And then you hear the civil society and so many of us saying that there must be fundamental and formidable electoral act. We're saying that elections must be scored from the units, and that from the units, the IRFs must become the major collating center. You know, if our law, if we achieve that, which is what we're pushing for, then no matter how powerful the president and the man who's in charge of INEC is. The unfortunate thing we had in the last election was that Mahmoud Yakub and his team could hide behind the fact that it wasn't mandatory to transmit elections through electoral means to the IREV. So they could hide behind that to perpetrate their malfeasance. But as you and I talk, we're pushing for the Electoral Act to be amended, and we will compel the National Assembly to do so. We will sit tight and sit in. We will protest and go to the courts. We'll do everything possible to ensure that the Electoral Act is worked to allow for, God willing, diaspora voting, because the Nigerians in diaspora contribute well over 200 billion to our economy yearly. And so with that kind of inflow of funds, they should have the right to determine who governs us. We're insisting that transmission of election results should be from the units, from the wards where people vote. No longer should those who did what they did in Edo State, or those who did what they did in Ondo State,
apologies for the poor connectivity.
Several places, no longer will they have the right to take the results of other applications for us to become truly alive, because congruent with democracy is the freeness of the electoral process. Congruent with democracy is the transparency of the electoral process. The electoral process must be free, fair, and transparent before you can truly say that you have a democracy. So we're going to push through all this and ensure it's not just about optimism. I have said, and I'm repeating it here, that the power of the people is stronger and mightier than the power of the men in power. Prof, and so very soon, very shortly,
if I may,
you will see how we can maximize and how we intend to do that.
If I may ask, Prof, you've been saying we. Who are the we? Who are you referring to?
The opposition, the Nigerian people. I'm not just talking about political class, because let me say it here that those who are defecting also, and a large number of our people misunderstand the reality. In Nigeria, the opposition have never truly been politicians. You see the politicians, they shamelessly tell you that there's no difference between party A and party B, that's why they're cross-carpeted. They shamelessly tell you that there's no ideology, there's no demarcation. They are all the same, multi-purpose vehicles. But in our historicity, the people have always been the true opposition. Yours sincerely and so many of us who were teenagers and in our early 20s were in IBB's jail for resisting SAP and for fighting against the annulment of June 12th. So many of us were in custody under Abacha for resisting Abacha and calling for the validation of June 12th. We have consistently been, the masses of our people has consistently been the opposition. And that's what you saw when the young people who did what they did across our country against the SAP regime, the SARS regime of the police, the SARS protestation, did. It was the people. And it was that group of Nigerians that metamorphosed into what we call the obedient movement today and the Labour Party frenzy of 2023.
Prof, do you see
that same group of Nigerian people who will unite? They're already uniting across platforms, and they're working towards ensuring that they take back their country for good come 2027. I'm confident. Fortunately so.
Sorry to cut you short.
We'll have a new deal in 2027.
Yeah, Prof. I wanted to ask this. When you were mentioning the NSAS and all, do you see, because I know what you did in the time you did it was with the military. I'm saying, do you see a Professor Nwaokobia in the Nigerian youth now? Do you see anybody that has any of those, the fire in your eyes then? Can you point to, because when you say, like Sheriff pointed out, when you say we, when you say everybody will do it, nobody will do it. But do you see anybody that can spearhead, that can dare to do what you dare to do, even with the military, in this time now, in the Nigeria of today?
Yes, I see a lot of them. I'm telling you this. I see a lot of them. I remember that in 2020, when the NSAS protestation happened, so many of us were behind the scene, talking to our young people and saying, don't be violent, do the best you can to take back your country. And a young generation of Nigerians, even the draconic intervention of the military, they were there, they didn't run away. So many of them were killed. We know the story now. And then we have seen the effort at replaying that spectacle in the End Bad Governance protestation. All that they need, and that's what we're trying to do, all that they need is proper education, proper information. All that they need is leadership. And some of us are willing and ready to give them leadership. See, I tell you, all over the world, what obtains now is that people are beginning to ask for their rights, and strongly so. We saw a bit of what happened in Kenya, but here, I know that the only country that's never been conquered in Africa by the political class is the Nigerian environment. Most people don't know that. Most countries have had sit-tight leaders. Kenya had Arap Moi. So many people, so many countries around had. Yadama was here in Benin Republic. We saw so many of them. Now, what is important, or in Togo, what is important is for all of us to understand that our young people must be guided right. In promoting this program, when I got the flyer from my brother Quadry, what I did was add a small note to it. And I said that the world was created with words, according to the Bible and the Quranic teachings. Yeah. Now, every revolution comes out of words. And I also believe that if you guide the people right, you'll find out that what the young people attempted in 2023 will be consummated in 2027. It will be a ballot-based revolution. I am confident because I saw the young people. I was one of the leaders of the P2B campaign and the Labour Party movement. I saw the young people. It was their campaign. It was their effort. They raised funds. They worked night and day. So I'm confident that this young generation of Nigerians who are beyond ethnicity, who are beyond tribe, who see and understand through the internet that nations work when the people say no to bad governance, and who are ready to say no to bad governance, I'm confident that they are going to rise and take back their country. I'm not looking out for politicians to emancipate Nigeria. I'm confident that these young people will do better than what we did against the military. I'm confident that, because it's very definite. My late dad told me that when a cup is full, it will overflow. It won't vaporize, it will overflow. And those who are talking about the tranquilizing drug of gradualism, who are telling the young people, take it easy, it will get better, are dreamers. Those who think that decamping or defecting to the ruling party will consolidate their hold over the people are dreamers. When you draw the line, the people against the political class, the power of the people will prevail over the political class. And that's my confidence.
Prof, we're going to have to leave it here for today. You have spoken very, very, very well. And that's the beauty of any interaction with you. Your words are quite clear, no holds barred, and always saying things the way they should be said. Thank you so much for joining us, or finding time to join us.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Evening,
Thank
Prof.
you.
The pleasure is mine. God bless Nigeria.
God bless Nigeria. Professor Chris Mustapha Nwaokobia joined us from the Federal Capital this evening. Prof, it's been great having you. Thank you so much. Lagos, that's our show this evening. Stretch?
It's been a wonderful show. It gets you
You're
thinking.
still thinking about it.
It gets you thinking a lot. And I love the confidence in which Prof spoke, the optimism.
Yeah.
Some will feel that Nigeria is a done deal. And if you think that something else will unfold in the days ahead, it gives you hope to wake up tomorrow morning.
Now, what's disturbing is the fact that we, the young people, I mean, I love Prof's optimism, like you've said.
Yes.
But then when you look at the electorates and the what do they call it now? The knowledge of the process when it comes to election, you'd want to wonder whether we can actually get it right, because most people still, most voters in particular, most young people still don't know why they're voting.
My scare for 2027 is that something is being constructed by somebody who is a good engineer at constructing something he wants to use in 2027. You are seeing the pieces, you don't know what it will turn out to. I think there's something being built for 2027 that would counter what Professor said, but I hope I'm wrong.
Voter education, voter awareness. I would love for us not to give up, regardless of what happened in 2020.
It's going to be difficult.
2020 what now?
2023.
2023.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who
are pathetic.
Yes,
they don't want to hear about. But that's, like Professor said, that's the only way. That's the only legitimate way.
Yeah,
we're not in a in a war situation. We're in a democracy, and the only thing you can do is vote. And like Sheriff has said, if you don't come out to vote, people will come out. There will be a declaration. Somebody will be in charge. So whatever mistake you made the last time, correct it now. Sitting at home shouldn't be an option.
It shouldn't be an option. Shouldn't be. Well, that's our show today, Lagos. Thank you for being a part of it. If you missed out on the show, please feel free to go watch the videos back on Facebook and on YouTube or our website to listen to the podcast. We started with a big weekend at 3, and then we extended it to 4:45. And 5 o'clock, we had Professor Chris talking about the state of the nation. Guess what? We were only able to do politics and governance.
Yeah, and Mayor, we're sorry if we broke anything. We'll break it again tomorrow.
I'm Sheriff Quadry.
I'm Stretch.
The news is next at the top of the hour after this commercial.
Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.